Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video where I'm going to be showing you guys my weekly breakdown analysis on what I'm expecting for the coming week of June 19th. If you guys are brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe down below so that way you guys can get any and all future tips related to trading alone within the foreign exchange market. And if this video provides you any value in any way, shape, or form, be sure to leave a thumbs up so that way it motivates me to post a lot more content out like this. And if you guys have any questions at all throughout the video, be sure to either go down below, reach out to me on Instagram, or just comment, and I will try my best to reply back to you guys. But now with that being said, enough of the rambling. Let's just go ahead and get straight into the breakdown analysis, because I'm sure that's what you guys are here for. So starting off every single week, I always like to start off looking with the weekly time frame, because of the fact that that weekly candlestick is going to give me a lot more information compared to the lower time frames, right? The more of a lower time frame that you're looking and analyzing on, the less reliable it's going to be, because a higher time frame, always hold more weight, right? So looking into this weekly time frame, obviously this is not some sort of a good candlestick closure in terms of how it looks as a whole. This is more or less going to be some sort of a weird exchange. So I'm going to go ahead and look at gold for a weekly time frame on forex.com, because it looks like it looks a little bit weird. So looking into this weekly time frame, as you guys can see, this candlestick right here was basically flipped bearish, and looking into this one, it's obviously flipped bullish. Notice how we have a massive rejection to the downside, and we basically closed more than halfway up the candlestick, right? So this is showing me that there's going to be potential of price wanting to continue back up to the upside, and we could potentially break past this 1870 area, right? So looking into this weekly, I have a little bit of an analysis that I want to buy price, right? Now that we have that set, looking into this daily time frame, we are now going to start building up confluence as to why I want to start buying price. So going back into my normal exchange on gold, you guys can see that I already have my zones marked up of my support and resistance, my major zones, my minor zones, and things of that sort. So looking into this daily time frame, you guys can see right here that we have been in some sort of a downtrending market on gold from this point on, right? And it looks like we're having to starting to have some sort of a shift in structure. This could be some sort of a double bottom, and price I can expect to basically buy back up into this 1872 area before we either break this resistance and give us a retest for the continuation back up, or we can just come back up and just sell off like the rest of the times that it has whenever price reaches this 1872 area. Obviously, as you guys can see, we have massive selling pressure when price gets to this zone, and it's done it 3 times, and price has just sold off completely off of this level. But notice how we are constantly making new higher highs as price gets to that point. We got a higher high, higher high, higher high. And notice how price is still trading above this white level of previous resistance to then act as a level of support, potential support, right? Looking into this daily time frame, if I wanted to short, I would have wanted price to basically come back down below this general area, give me a retest for the continuation back down. But obviously price didn't do that. What did price do on this daily time frame? We came down and we basically bought straight back up, and now we are trading back above. It's just a simple retest for the continuation back up to target these highs. And if I were to overall want to swing gold, my ultimate level would be this 1964 area, right? So I'm going to do a technical analysis on this. I'm not going to cover any fundamentals, just because of the fact that technicals do always typically line up with fundamentals. So we're just going to do straight technical analysis, right? So looking into this daily time frame and identifying the zone, like I said, we are in above a structural level of support, so I'm going to be more inclined to buying. So now that we have the analysis and bias set that we're going to be looking for buys on our weekly and our daily, let's scale down into our lower time frames and start to basically build up the confluence as to what area we want to buy in, right? So if you guys remember, I had my zone marked up, my white zone right here, and as soon as price can get to this general area, this is where I'm going to be looking to buy. So I started taking buys right here on gold. We ran up about a 1-to-3 risk to reward ratio on this trade setup, and then I got a nice little 1-to-6 risk to reward overall as a whole. So we got a 1-to-2 and a 1-to-3 overall, making about 6R off of this 5-6R off of this trade setup. So this is one of the buys that I took on gold, but let me just go ahead and delete this because that is kind of irrelevant now. Moving on into the where we are at now. Like I said, price, we are basically trading above this area of support. So what am I expecting? I'm expecting for price to basically stop out all the early buyers within this general area right here, because we haven't completely tapped into this demand zone quite yet. And I'm really expecting for price to come back into this demand zone. I'm not straight ICT, and I'm also not 100% price action. I kind of correlate between the both and build up the confluence from there, right? So speaking in terms of demand levels and price action, typically I'd want for price to come back down into this general zone before we buy back up, because as you guys can see right here, price can be doing the same exact thing as it did right here. We could have created a new little form of a support right here. Price bought up and then price shot straight back down, did a little bit of a liquidity grab, and then price back up, bought back up straight up into the general area. Notice how you can see right here, it's the same exact thing. We have a massive wick to the downside. We closed back above this general area and we bought straight back up into that general zone, right? I want to see the same exact thing happen for gold right here. Notice how we created a level of support right here, and then price could have very much so done the same thing right now. It could very much so be doing the same exact thing. Notice previous level of resistance, minor resistance, to then act as a potential level of support. And then what did price do soon after? We had a massive liquidity grab to the downside, and notice how it got almost to the point of touching this specific white level. Same thing here, same thing here. So price hasn't gotten completely into the general area. So speaking in terms of price action and also speaking in terms of ICT, I can definitely expect a little bit of a liquidity grab right here. Price is going to tap into this general demand zone, and then we are going to buy back up. So what am I expecting? If I want to basically just set my limit, I could be very aggressive and set it at the bearish candlestick right here, and I could set my stops right down below this general area. So basically, if price were to come back down all the way to the general area, I can expect for price to just continue back down to the downside and sell from that point on. But I'd want to wait for some sort of a daily close before I want to start looking for sells. Until then, I'm only going to be looking for buys on gold as long as this daily remains above my white zone all the way up into this 1872, right? So like I said, once price can get down into this general area, just depending on the time, if I'm going to go to sleep early, I'm going to set a limit of a buy limit and target my 1 to 3, always a minimum and or the previous high, and then overall swing target is going to be all the way up into here. So I'm expecting gold to buy off of this level right here. Literally the only thing I'm going to be waiting for is for some sort of rejections and some sort of a candlestick price action signal, whether it is a bullish engulfing, some sort of a dragonfly doji, things of that sort, right? So that's going to be gold. I'm going to be wanting to buy gold at this specific yellow zone, 1832 to 1830 range, right around that general zone, right? So let me just go ahead and get rid of this long as well. But that's my analysis on gold. I'm going to be looking for buys. Looking into GU, I'm going to be looking for the same exact thing. I'm going to be looking for buys because of the fact that, number one, if you guys can see this is some sort of a massive basically sell off to the downside. We've been selling off on GBPUSD for a while now. Looking into this weekly time frame, like I said, I analyze off of the weekly and then slowly scale back in. Notice how within this general area we have a very much so scattered level of resistance and support. I can very much so realign this general area right here, and you guys can see that we have a level of support right here. We have a level of support, a little bit of resistance, and almost touched the support level before we bought straight back up. Notice how it's the same thing here. Price failed to close below, price failed to close below, and now we can very much so use this area as a level of support. Why do I want to basically make that little assumption? Because number one, looking into this daily, this could very much so be a bull bear bull candlestick, just like it did, let's just say for example right here, bull bear bull, and then we bought straight back up into that general area. Same thing here, right? Looking into this 4 hour, this is just a simple neckline retest of our inverted head and shoulders, right? You got a massive sell off, you got a left shoulder, you got a right shoulder, you have a right shoulder. Wait, did I say? I meant head and then right shoulder. And then now guess what you have? You have a retest of the neckline. So being very, very aggressive, you can very easily look to buy GU within this general area because it already gave you the retest. Set your stops down below that general area and just target your nice 1 to 3 risk reward setup all the way back up to the previous high, right? If not, you can target the next strong structural level, which would be oh my God, I keep burping. Which would be the very next strong level of 1.24700, right? Right around this general area would be my ultimate target, because looking into this market as a whole, we are down trending, but scaling in onto this 4 hour time frame, you guys can already see the reversal, right? Why wait to get in on a bullish market on the daily time frame when you can just scale down just a little bit into the 4 hour time frame? Because once that 4 hour time frame starts to basically switch up, eventually the daily is going to catch up, right? The 4 hour is very much so a bigger how should I put it? It is a very, I don't want to say reliable, but much more reliable than the 1 hour, 30 minute, 15 minute, because of the fact that obviously every single candlestick tells you a 4 hour story, right? So like I said, with that 4 hour story, it's telling me, head and shoulders, neckline retest, go ahead and buy me all the way up to the previous high, right? So that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting GU to basically buy up beyond this point. Now, that is going to be GU. Anything below this weekly area, I'm going to be basically looking to sell. But more or less, I'm only going to be looking for buys. If this daily does close below this general area, I'm going to basically start looking for sells, and I'm going to start building up the confluence for sells, right? So all in all, it's just a matter of reacting and adapting to the bigger markets. That's just how I like to trade personally. I always look at the bigger time frames, and then I scale down into that 1 hour, 30 minute to basically start looking for the most ideal entry and just follow market structure as a whole. That's going to be the biggest thing, right? So that's going to be GU. Like I said, I'm going to be looking for buys all the way back up into the previous high, which would be right here. Any runners would be all the way back up into this 18 or 1.245 to 700 area. And notice how that's also a psychological level of 1.24500, right? It's that same general area. So looking into GJ, GJ has been very, very bullish to say the least. Looking into this weekly time frame, we have a massive wick to the downside, and also notice how we basically retested market structure right here, acted as a previous level of resistance, now to act as a level of support. And notice how this weekly we closed above the highs of these body candlesticks. So I'm expecting for price on GJ to continue to buy to potentially back up into this weekly highs, right? So now that we have that set on our weekly, we have a massive wick to the downside. I'm expecting a little bit more bullish pressure and continuation on GJ. Looking into this daily time frame, notice how I can draw out my fibs from swing low to my swing high point. Boom. 50% extension, rejection. Where's my 27 line up? Past my red zone, which would be these highs, and right below this blue weekly area. So potentially price can come back up into this 27% extension, right? So it's showing me another sign of bullish indication. My SMAs are crossed. We have massive rejections to the downside, things of that sort. Now scaling in onto this 4 hour time frame, this is where we basically start to build up where we want to look for buys and what do we want price to do. What I want price to do is notice how on this 4 hour time frame we broke structure to the downside, right? We were in a seller's market on this retracement, right? Came back down, lower low, lower high, lower low, and notice how we broke above these highs, and now I'm anticipating the new higher low for the continuation back up to these highs. So what I want price to do is come back down into this general area right here, retest our weekly, which is also our previous level of resistance, to then act as a level of support to basically buy price back up, right? As soon as we can get that, I'm going to be a lot more inclined to taking that specific trade opportunity because it's going to be a higher probability setup. Now, if price doesn't want to get down to this general area, the most ideal thing I want to see price do is break these highs right here, give me a retest of this minor level of support and resistance to then continue back up into these highs right here. But if price doesn't want to do either one or the other, I'm just not going to take the trade. You want to plan every single one of your trades, and you want to trade your plan, because if you don't plan your trade and trade your plan, you're more than likely just going to find yourself forcing trade setups. You're going to more than likely find yourself over trading and things of that sort, right? If it doesn't make sense, just don't take the trade setup at all, right? So that's going to be that on GJ. I'm very much so bullish. We're above our weekly, so I'm going to want to be looking for buys, any retracement that I can get. Like I said, I want to get price down all the way to this 164, 163, 960 area, right? So that's going to be GJ. These are going to be the only 3 pairs that I'm going to be interested for the week. These are the only 3 pairs that I actually trade, because it's going to be a lot more easier to manage 3 girlfriends than to manage 10 girlfriends, and in correlation to that, obviously it's pairs. My favorite one to trade is gold, just because of the fact that it is so volatile. It is very, very easy to read and obviously trade any trending market. Whenever gold isn't trending, it is very, very hard to trade gold, because obviously within any range on gold, it moves over 100 pips, and obviously having big 100 pip stop losses aren't the most optimal in terms of having the best risk reward setups. So whenever market is trending on gold and you have good risk reward setups, it typically tends to reward you well. So that's one of the main reasons why I like trading gold. Looking into GJ, it is also very, very, very volatile. And then GU is probably like my least favorite pair, but it's still one of those pairs that I like to trade, if that makes any sense. These are really my top 3 pairs that I like to trade. Intraday trade, not scalp. Sometimes I'll transition into a swing if it makes sense, because of the fact that obviously looking into the daily, the weekly, if it makes sense, I will hold my trade setup, no worries, because at the end of the day, to really make a good amount of money in trading is literally just making 10% a month, and 10% a month is making 2.5% a week. And what is 2.5% a week? That is one trade that is a nice 3 risk reward setup. But yeah, that's going to be it for this specific video. If you guys have any questions at all, please be sure to comment down below, DM me on Instagram, do anything of that sort. I have all my guides linked down below. I have my Signal room, Telegram room, mentorships, all of that stuff down below. So if you guys want to be a part of my Signal room, where I basically do all these live breakdown analysis on a nightly basis, I send out obviously my signals, trade ideas, things of that sort, and you guys want a little bit more direct mentorship with me, be sure to check that out down below as well. Hopefully you guys have an amazing week. We got June 19th tomorrow, which is the holiday. I think it's called Juneteenth. So it's going to be a US dollar bank holiday. So we're just going to see how the markets move. I'm probably not going to take a trade tonight just because of that. But like I said, if there's something that makes sense, those are the type of trade setups that I like. I don't really typically look at the news or anything of that sort, because like I said, I'm much more of a technical analysis trader. But anyways, hopefully you guys have an amazing day, night, whatever time you guys are watching this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.